at this footage and thinking it's a bad attempt to film Star Wars in a backyard. You're almost right. Except this is 1965, and the backyard belongs to General Electric. This isn't a prop. It's not a model. It's a real, functioning, four-legged walking truck. In the 60s, the US Army desperately needed transport for the impassable jungles of Vietnam. And while some engineers were improving helicopters and others were adding tread to tires, the folks at General Electric decided to, well, cancel wheels entirely. They built a mechanical elephant. This is the story of the GE walking truck, a machine 50 years ahead of its time. It's the story of the first real, albeit hellishly complex, analog, Mech. Today, we're going to break down not just what it is, but how the hell it actually worked. And most importantly, why aren't we driving these things to work today? To understand where this wild idea came from, you have to dive into the context. The mid-60s, the Vietnam War. These aren't the flat European fields of World War II, where tanks feel right at home. These are rice paddies that turn into swamps. This is a rainy season that turns roads into, well, vague directions in the mud. This is a jungle where trees grow so dense, driving through is impossible. Wheeled vehicles get stuck. Tracked vehicles get stuck, too. Helicopters can't land everywhere and make for excellent targets. The Army needed transport that could go anywhere. Something that could step over a fallen tree. Not drive around it. Something that could walk up a slippery slope without tipping. And DARPA, which was then humbly called ARPA, threw down the challenge: build us a machine that walks, not drives. This wasn't a request for a truck. It was a request for a beast. Fact number 1, the cyborg contract. In official DARPA documents, this project was listed as CAM, Cybernetic Anthropomorphous Machine. Let's break that down: cybernetic anthropomorphous machine. The keywords are cybernetic and anthropomorphous, meaning human-like. Even with 4 legs. From the very beginning, they didn't just want a simple robot you command with forward or left buttons. They wanted something that would become an extension of the operator. Something that would move as intuitively as a human arm or leg. They wanted a cyborg in the shape of a truck. And they got one. And here's the result. Meet the walking truck. Although truck is a bit of a compliment. It couldn't carry much cargo. It was more of a walking chassis, weighing about 400 kilograms, or 3,000 pounds. 4 massive metal legs, each with 3 joints, hip, knee, and ankle. 12 joints in total. All of this was powered by a 90-horsepower gasoline engine, which, in essence, just ran the hydraulic pumps. Because this entire machine was a triumph of hydraulics. But the heart of the machine wasn't the engine. The heart was this man, Ralph Mosier. Mosier was a General Electric engineer and, basically, the one and only true pilot of this machine. He wasn't just a driver. He was its brain. And this is where we get to the most interesting part. How do you drive this thing? In the operator's cab, there was no steering wheel. No gas or brake pedals in the usual sense. The operator sat in the chair and essentially wore the machine. Fact number 2, the analog neural interface. The system was brilliantly simple and, at the same time, hellishly complex. The operator's hands went into controllers that managed the machine's front legs. The operator's feet were strapped to controllers that managed the rear legs. Wherever the operator moved his right hand, the machine's right front leg moved in the same direction. If he lifted his left knee, the machine's left rear leg took a step. This was a complete, human-in-the-loop system. The machine didn't think. It had no computer. It simply copied and amplified the operator's movements, at a ratio of about 1 to 100. It was a giant, mechanical avatar. But just copying movements is only half the battle. Many had tried that before. The genius of Mosier's creation was something else. And this is the key feature that almost no one mentions when they talk about this machine. Force feedback. And no, not the kind of feedback in your gaming steering wheel that just vibrates when you hit a wall. No, this was real, physical feedback. Imagine, the operator moves his hand. The hydraulic system moves the 10-foot-tall metal leg. That leg hits a rock. In that same split second, the hydraulic fluid sends pressure back into the operator's controller. And the operator feels that rock. He physically feels the resistance in his own hand. He could feel the ground with the metal leg. He could feel the machine's weight. He could feel when the leg started to slip on wet clay. This wasn't driving. This was merging. It allowed the operator to intuitively balance this 1.5-ton machine. He didn't think about where to put the leg. He felt where to put it. This was pure cybernetics in metal. Fact number 3, the behemoth's ballet. Thanks to this feedback system, the machine, despite its weight and clunkiness, could perform incredibly delicate work. There's footage of Ralph Mosier pushing a Jeep, and then carefully stepping over a pipe on the ground. There's a legend, or perhaps an engineer's joke, that Mosier could use the 1.5-ton leg to touch a light bulb without breaking it, or even gently nudge a raw egg. The egg might be an exaggeration, but it shows the level of control. The machine was simultaneously an elephant and a ballerina. The operator could feel the surface and apply exactly the right amount of force. No more, no less. This was a 100% analog system. No computers, no chips, just valves, tubes, pressurized fluid, and the genius of an engineer. When Mosier moved, he opened valves. Pressure went to the legs. When the legs met resistance, pressure came back to Mosier. It was a closed hydraulic loop. It was, in essence, the first real mech from an anime built 20 years before it became a sci-fi staple. The machine could step over obstacles, climb slopes, and push objects. It did its job. So, why don't we see these in every army? Why did this brilliant idea die? Because that brilliance was also its curse. It turned out the technology was ready, but the human wasn't. And this is the main reason for its failure. Fact number 4, the world's hardest workout. Imagine trying to balance on a fitness ball while juggling 4 objects and holding a plank position, all at the same time. Now, do it with no breaks. The operator of the walking truck was simultaneously controlling 12 separate joints. And he wasn't just moving them. He was constantly receiving physical feedback. Every step, every pebble, every uneven surface, all of it fed back into his arms and legs. This wasn't driving. It was physical and mental hell. Even Ralph Mosier himself, the machine's creator who trained on it for years, was completely exhausted after just 15 to 20 minutes of operation. A regular soldier, without months of training, simply couldn't pilot it. It was too hard. It was not built for humans. Besides the exhaustion, there was another problem. Speed. The truck's maximum speed was 8 kilometers per hour, about 5 miles per hour. A fast walker could overtake it. For a military vehicle that needs to react quickly to threats, this was, well, slow. Add to that the complexity of maintenance. Hundreds of feet of hydraulic lines, hundreds of complex valves. One leak in the field, and your mech turns into a 1.5-ton monument to engineering. The army looked at it, scratched its head, and decided that the good old helicopter, for all its faults, was still a lot more practical. The project was quietly shut down in the late 60s. The machine was sent to a museum. A failure? If you look at its direct mission, yes, a total failure. The truck never went into production. But if you look at its legacy, oh, that's far more interesting. Fact number 5, the father of ADTs and robot surgeons. Look at this archival footage. Now, look at this. Yes, there is a very persistent and plausible theory that this exact footage of the walking truck trials, which looked so alien and bizarre, inspired George Lucas and his designers to create the Imperial ADTs. The uncertain, slightly clumsy, animal-like gait, it's all very similar. But the main legacy isn't in movies. The idea of force feedback, which Mosier perfected, is now absolutely fundamental. It's the basis for Da Vinci robotic surgical systems, where a surgeon sits at a console and feels the patient's tissue through the manipulator. It's the basis for the remote control manipulators on the International Space Station. And, of course, it's the spiritual ancestor of all Boston Dynamics robots. Except Big Dog and Spot solved the walking truck's main problem. They replaced the exhausted human operator with a powerful onboard computer. The GE walking truck wasn't just a truck. It was an experiment that asked a fundamental question. Where is the line between human and machine? And it proved that a machine could become a literal extension of the body. It was too complex, too exhausting, and too analog for its time. It predated the computer revolution by decades. But without this clumsy, mechanical elephant, which took its one short but incredibly important walk, modern robotics would look very different today. It was a strange, but necessary, step into the future.